People, LP2000, right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju and on behalf of the awesome upcoming new collectible show, courtesy of the Kaiju Cast, Collect All Monsters. And today we doing another great video. Yes. We're taking a break from X Plus for a great reason. And today I welcome you to another Mark Seng Yang showcase. And today we're focusing on this awesome custom-made diorama based off my favorite King Kong film of all time, 1967's King Kong Escapes. Yes. This is so awesome. Oh my God. And first off, let me apologize, ladies and gentlemen, because I know I mentioned a while ago that I was going to be getting to this guy like a few videos ago, but certain things come up between then and now. So I've been meaning to get to this review sooner than expected. But after me clearing some things out, I was able to get to this review today. So once again, if you were expecting this a little bit sooner, I'm sorry, but better late than never is my philosophy. And we're taking a look at this awesome sculpture. Yes, courtesy of Mark Seng Yang Custom Studios. Yes. Want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Mark Seng Yang for making this happen for me. Yes. And if you're new to the channel or if you're new to these videos, or to these Mark Seng Yang showcase, let me give you a brief history on who Mark Seng Yang is and what our relationship is. Mark Seng Yang basically is a brilliant and talented kaiju sculptor that can pretty much make anything that you want kaiju related. He's also dabbled in the superhero stuff, but his expertise is mostly kaiju, Japanese kaiju like Godzilla, Kong, you know what I'm saying? So I got together with him, I want to say back in 2013. I saw a picture online of a beautiful 1991 Godzilla bust. It was just his upper torso, his head, his dorsal plates, or whatever. And I did some legwork trying to figure out who exactly made that awesome sculpture. And I was able to find out it was Mark Seng Yang. And I contacted him and said, hey, you think you can make a full figure out of this? And at first he was like, I haven't really done anything like that before. I'm kind of just, starting out with this sculpture stuff. But I'll do my best for you. And ever since 2013, I've gotten some great kaiju sculptures from him, from the 1991 Godzilla, a 1967 giant Godzilla, Godzilla Jr. to go with my gigantic burning Godzilla in the back up here. Just great, awesome sculptures that I was able to get from him throughout the years, and we have collaborated a few times, and each time we have collaborated, he has knocked it out of the park every single time, and his work and his level of talent gets better and better, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else that he and I may cook up in the near future. More on that later on. But this was a year and a half in the making, because the last sculpture I got from him prior to this one, he made me a custom-made diorama of the 1976 King Kong. And I got that video up on my channel as well. Please check it out. It's in the archives. But he made me a giant custom 1976 King Kong with the island base all around him, whatever. Because I love that film. Say what you will about that film, but to me, I really do enjoy that version of King Kong and that film in general. And after that, I was like, you know what? I contacted him and wanted him to make me a 67 King Kong. Because this is my favorite version of King Kong, believe it or not. 1967 King Kong is my favorite version out of all the Kongs. And I know it's blasphemy amongst King Kong purists, but hey, you like what you like, you know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, he did make me a King Kong 67 figure before, a statue before. 18 inches tall. Pretty much everything he makes for me is the big scale, 18 inches, you know, the going scale with the S Plus Gigantic series. And he made me one before. And it was cool. It really was cool. But as his level of talent had gotten better, I was like, you know what? I want another one. I want another one because I love this version of Kong that much. So I approached him after he made me the 76 diorama in 2018 and said, hey, can you make me another one? He was like, yeah, sure. And I've been meaning to get to that like sooner in 2018. I've been meaning to get with him to get this done in 2018, but a lot of stuff came up between then and now, you know, because I'm heavy into X Plus and other things. So my money was tied up where I couldn't invest into the project. So I had to wait almost a year to get my schedule cleared up and my budget cleared up to put the money forth into this investment or into this project to get it going. And around, I want to say June of this year, I was able to put some money together, and I contacted Mark and said, hey, you think we can finally get this going? He was like, yeah, sure. Now, at first I wanted just Kong. I wanted just another version of Kong, a giant version of Kong. But then I was like, you know what? If I put forth some extra money, because I want something bigger alongside Kong. So I asked him, could he make me a custom diorama base, bigger than the one that he made with the 76. And on top of that, he gave me two mini pieces, a mini figure version of Doctor Who and a mini version of she wasn't no doctor in the film, a mini version of Susan Watson. And on top of that, I wanted one of the helicopters, one of Doctor Who's helicopters, to make a couple appearances in the film in this base as well. So you get like this giant custom-made diorama of Kong on top of Mondo Island with the helicopter in the background and with two of the most pivotal characters in the film right here in the foreground. And here you have, in my opinion, probably one of the, if not the best custom-made dioramas devoted to this awesome film of King Kong Escapes. And I got my hands on it in August. And that is pretty much the backstory with me getting this awesome sculpture. Man, this is so amazing. This really is an awesome piece, as you can see here. During the process, I was really more hands-on with Mark. And that's the thing. When you approach Mark with a project, of course, it's better if you provide reference pictures. That way he can see what he needs to build for you. You have to be, that's the thing. When you collaborate with Mark, you have to provide the vision. You can't just say, hey, make me Godzilla 1954. And just be bland with it. No, you have to provide reference pictures. You have to be hands-on with him and tell him what you want, what you don't want. And he will follow those instructions to a T. Every now and then he may offer some suggestions to make the overall project better. But at the end of the day, he'll do exactly what you tell him to do. But you need to be, like I said, provide reference pics. Be on top of it, you know what I'm saying? Don't just give him a bland suggestion of what you want. You know what I'm saying? You have to be really descriptive with it, you know what I'm saying? And I was really more on top of Mark this time than I ever have been because, once again, I love this film. It's my favorite King Kong film, and I want it to be perfect, you know what I'm saying? And he made it perfect, in my opinion. He made it perfect. Kong stands in at probably 18.5 inches tall, and to my knowledge, this is probably the biggest King Kong sculpture of this guy in the world, I think. Unless somebody out there can produce another one that's bigger, but I think this is the biggest, aside from Model Kits, this is the biggest King Kong 1967 figure that you will ever find. Standing, like I said, at a whopping 18.5, almost 19 inches tall. He is big, he is massive, he is expertly detailed, he is awesome. Of course, like I said, it comes with this great island base. And once again, I wanted it bigger than the one he made for 76. And he provided more trees, more foliage, stuff like that. He was able to put so much detail into this base. He also provided some river and a stream in here, you know, just to give off the overall essence of the tropical stuff on Mondo Island, you know what I mean? I provide some inserts as I go along here. And then the helicopter, once again, I love the helicopter. You know what I'm saying? And of course the two minifigures in the foreground here, Doctor Who and Susan Watson. And once again, this what gives us this awesome custom-made diorama. Once again, thank you, Mark Seng Yang, for making this happen for me. So now let's go into each piece one by one, and we'll lead up to the main event, which will be Kong, and we'll focus on each individual piece. Because like I said, it comes in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So let's focus first on the minifigures. Let's first off start with Doctor Who. Yes, the main villain of the film, besides Mechanic Kong. This is a nice little minifigure of Doctor Who. I really do enjoy this little figure of Doctor Who. Here it is in his black, outfit with the hat and that cape flowing behind him. That's the thing. I love Doctor Who. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but Doctor Who, in my opinion, is one of the most over-the-top villains of all time in these kaiju films, especially from the Showa series. Of course, you have other human villains that kind of steal the show in certain films, like you have Nelson from Mothra in 1961, or the Planet X Controller from Monster Zero, or you have Antonio from Godzilla vs. Megalon, you know what I'm saying? Or the eye patch wearing Chief Guy from the Red Bamboo Base from Sea Monster, or Dr. Mifune from Terra Mechagodzilla. You have all these human villains that are so wacky and over the top, you know what I'm saying? But they offer something really, really fun and entertaining. But to me, I think out of all the villains, he runs neck and neck with the Planet X Controller, in my opinion. But Doctor Who is, in fact, probably the most over-the-top villain of all time. And he is awesome. He pretty much steals every scene that he's in King Kong Escapes. Whenever the monsters are not on screen, he pretty much carries the movie. He really does. And I wanted to have this figure of him in comparison to Kong, because, like I said, I have Doctor Who and I have Susan Watson. And in my opinion, these two are the most pivotal characters in the film. One character is, of course, the love interest of Kong, and the other one wants to control Kong, which basically set the events of the film in motion. You know what I'm saying? That's why I want to have these two figures here. But Doctor Who looks awesome. Mark done a great job with Doctor Who. He really looks great. Now let's go over to the other one. And of course, Susan Watson, the love interest of King Kong in this film, which doesn't have exactly the best reputation amongst fans of this film, or just fans in general. Some people say she's probably the weaker female opposites to Kong in these films in comparison to Fay Wray in 33, or Jessica Lange in 76, or Naomi Watts in 2005. To me, she's fine. You know what I'm saying? Of course, her voice can get annoying. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I really enjoy it. I've been watching this film for so long that she doesn't bother me. I mean, actually, she never did. But I've heard folks say that she's kind of an annoyance in the film. But to me, she's not. You know what I'm saying? It's really funny. I guess the reason why it doesn't really bother me that much, because honestly, she doesn't take much of the film with Kong. Really, they only have like 2 scenes together. Like, right when she first gets to Mondo Island with Akira Takarada and Rose Reason, before, Gorosaurus attacks, and then they come across Kong or whatever, and they have like a little intimate moment there. After that, they don't really have any scenes together, Susan Watson and Kong I'm talking about, until the very end when Mechanic Kong and Kong invade Tokyo. So it's not a typical King Kong story where King Kong and the girl spend a lot of time together. But I do love the interaction, especially the fact that apparently this Kong is probably the smartest Kong of them all. The fact that he's able to understand English really well. Doctor Who can give him instructions. Hey, go in that tunnel and dig it out. He'll nod his head and walk in and do that. Or Susan Watson can say, Kong, don't sink the ship. I sleep and I eat on this ship. Oh man, so that's why I want to have Susan Watson here as part of this diorama, and she looks good as well in her UN outfit. You know what I mean? Now let's go over to the let's talk about the base here. The base looks awesome. Really, like I mentioned earlier, with the green foliage and the mountain setting, you have a little mountain here in the background right here on this side of the base with the helicopter perched on top of it. We'll get to the helicopter next. But this base is awesome. And once again, if you're looking for a base or just a background diorama, because this actually works with X Plus figures. Like, it works great with the X Plus 30cm Gorosaurus. Like, putting this figure on top of this base with Susan Watson in the background and have Gorosaurus just hovering above her, that looks awesome. It really does look awesome. But Mark Seng Yang put a great job with the base, with the greens here and there, with the little mini stream right here, with little rocks here and there. Just a great base, and I highly recommend if you want a base or a background tropical setting for your X Plus figures to create great setups, contact Mark Seng Yang. He can definitely help you out with that. Just in case you don't want a kaiju sculpture of a kaiju, he can definitely help you out with a background base. So the background base, the base is awesome. Even more awesome, in my opinion, of the 761 he made for me. Now, mind you, the 761 is awesome, but this is bigger and look more elaborate. He put a lot more detail into it, and it's awesome. Oh, a side note, see this tree right here? You could actually take this tree off and put it in Kong's hand and have it like perched in Kong's hand, like what happened in the film when the helicopters come in and try to kidnap him, and he picks up a couple of trees and try to swat one of the helicopters out of the sky. You could actually take this tree off, put it in Kong's hand, and have that, image. Or you can take it down and put it right here in the slot. So I love that option that Mark Seng Yang put into this custom piece. Or at least this base, I should say. But the base is great. The base is awesome. I really do enjoy it. Once again, Mark Seng Yang has done a phenomenal job recreating this awesome base of Mondo Island, the home of King Kong in this awesome film. Now, let's go over to the helicopter. Now, this was a must-have for this base because I wanted to have this diorama, like I said, reminiscent of when Kong gets captured or kidnapped on Mondo Island from this film. Now, I originally wanted 2 of them, but he was only able to make 1. But I'm still happy that I was able to get 1. And it's perched up here on this mountainside, hovering over Kong. And don't say what you will about those helicopters, I really do enjoy them. You only see them like pretty much twice in the film. First, when they observe Mechanic Kong trying to dig for Element X, of course that fails. And then when a whole bunch of them swarm Mondo Island in attempts to bring down Kong, when they drop those gas bombs to put him to sleep, and each one grabs like an arm and a leg, and they pick him up and they take him over to the ship and take him up to the North Pole, which is kind of more realistic on how they lifted Kong and King Kong versus Godzilla. Remember King Kong versus Godzilla? All they did was they attached that super strong wire that one of the characters had and attached them to some balloons, and those balloons was apparently, they had enough air in them and helium in them that they can lift up this 1,000,000-ton ape. Oh man, you gotta love the show is serious. At least the helicopter thing was a little bit more believable, if you want to call it believable in a film like this, But once again, this was done really well. Mark Seng Yang done a great job with this helicopter. The propellers do move, but I don't move them that much. But the overall look of the helicopter is there, and it looks really good, especially to add on as like an accessory to this piece. Just makes the piece look a lot more better, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So this is great. The helicopter, the island base, the foliage and the stream, the river, I should say, the little rocks in the stream. Of course, the minifigures makes up a great base. So now let's go to the main event of this piece, shall we? Let's talk about Kong. Oh my God. And I know a lot of folks don't really care for this Kong. I know a lot of folks consider this Kong to be just a goofy looking version. The suit looked rough in a couple scenes. But to me, this is my favorite version of Kong. Both performance, especially by Haruo Nakajima, and of course the look, the design. I really do love the look of Kong. You have to realize this. The look of Kong is based off his appearance in the King Kong cartoon. Because y'all know this story. I've said this many times before. King Kong Escapes was made in response to the King Kong cartoon show that came out in 1966. So Rankin Bass, who owned the character, or at least owned the character of Kong, or at least RKO owned the character of Kong, Rankin Bass was like, you know what? We have a great successful TV show in the King Kong show, and we have an option to make a live action movie. So let's go to Toho and see if they can make something for us. Now, the original treatment for what they wanted to do was the story that ended up being Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. Rankin Bass didn't like that story, so they scratched out King Kong's name, who was originally going to be in Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. At that point, it was going to be called King Kong vs. Ebra. They took out Kong, they replaced it with Godzilla, and that's why we got Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. So they came out a year later with a brand new script from scratch, and that's what we got, King Kong Escapes, which basically follows more the cartoon, where Kong tries to get controlled by Doctor Who and gets attacked, at least confronted by Mechanic Kong, which does happen in one of the episodes of the cartoon. But the main premise behind the cartoon is Doctor Who trying to kidnap or take control of King Kong so he can basically rule the world. You know what I'm saying? So the movie really follows more of the cartoon than anything else. And the look of Kong is more reflective of how he looked in the cartoon anyway. Just goofy, less serious, more playful, if you think about it. But I really do love this version of Kong. And Mark Seng Yang has done a great job, with the sculpture of Kong, with the hair and stuff like that. His awesome pectorials. Oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God, the feet is colored really well. The toes, his arms, his hands. Just a great sculpt. He's more so top heavy with his pronounced bigger upper body versus legs. That's the thing about the King Kong design from this film. He was more so top heavy with his upper body than his legs. But you know what? That's the charm of this suit. I really do enjoy that. The teeth are individually sculpted. Pretty much everything is sculpted individually on this design or on this sculpture. The gums are colored really well, because there are times in the film where you see his gums pop out, giving more of a ferocious look. So it looks really good. The head sculpt on Kong is awesome. Now, the main selling point of the design, or at least of the sculpture in particular, in my opinion, is the eyes. The eyes are basically what makes this figure perfect. Now, when Mark Seng Yang first sculpted this figure, he sent me pictures. The eyes did look a little bit better, but they kind of like look really small. You know what I'm saying? So I gave him more reference pictures of what the eyes look like on the actual suit, and he improved on the eyes by making them bigger, a little bit more bloodshot. The pupils in there look really good. So once again, it's the eyes. It's the eyes that make up really the essence of this design, of this sculpture. And Mark Seng Yang has done a phenomenal job with the eyes, with the face, with the nose, the teeth, the overall hair sculpt. It's just perfect in my opinion. Basically everything about Kong from head to toe is perfect. Alongside with the base, with the helicopter, and with the minifigures of Doctor Who and Susan Watson. And once again, you have yourself, in my opinion, one of the, if not the best custom-made dioramas devoted to this awesome film. And I really do enjoy it. Once again, Mark Seng Yang has outdone himself with this project. As it stands right now, this is my favorite sculpture that I've gotten from him. And I'm not done with Mark Seng Yang yet. We got a few more projects that we're going to be doing, and I will showcase what the next project will be at the very end of this video, so please stay tuned for that. But once again, great sculpture. I highly recommend it if you want something made from Mark Seng Yang, whether it's Kong, whether it's Godzilla, anything kaiju related, hit him up on Facebook, Mark Seng Yang. He would definitely hook you up. Trust me, I'm living proof of that with this awesome sculpture right here. Now, before I go, you know I gotta talk about King Kong Escapes. I have to talk about this awesome film. Once again, my favorite King Kong film of all time, which I have said many times before, that I know some people find that to be blasphemous. They're like, really? You prefer this one over the original? And I really do, because at the end of the day, it's about fun entertainment for me. What may be entertaining for me, it may not be entertaining for you or anybody else. But still, it doesn't make it bad. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of criticism thrown this film's way is the fact that, for one, they don't consider it really too realistic. And honestly, it's a giant monster film from the 60s. There was not much realism going on back then with these films. You know what I'm saying? These films were done to provide fun. They were there to provide an escape. They were there to provide great entertainment. If you try to apply logic into a giant monster film, that's when you're going to take all the fun out of the equation. You know what I'm saying? So what? Does it make me less of a King Kong fan because I love a somewhat less serious portrayal of the character versus the one that came out in 1933? No, it doesn't. And there are other fellow fans and fellow YouTubers that I want to give a huge shout out to that actually like or enjoy less serious portrayal of characters than the original version. Like Samson West, for example. Go to his channel. He's an awesome guy. His favorite Godzilla film of all time is Godzilla vs. Gigan. His favorite design and his favorite character of Godzilla is a 1972 Godzilla, when he was the goofy superhero. So does that make him less of a Godzilla fan because he doesn't prefer the original 1954? No, it doesn't. Or Phil the Kaiju King. Phil the Kaiju King. Go to his his YouTube channel. He has awesome content on his channel as well. For what I understand, his favorite movie of all time is 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Once again, when Godzilla was a goofy superhero. So does that make him less of a Godzilla fan than anybody else just because he doesn't prefer the more serious versions of them? You know what I'm saying? Or my great friend Eric Arrington, his favorite Godzilla film of all time is Godzilla vs. Megalon. Once again, when Godzilla was in full superhero mode. So that doesn't make him less of a Godzilla fan because he prefers a more jovial, happy-go-lucky version of Godzilla than the more serious ones. So that's my point. Just because we love less serious portrayals of characters does not make us less of a fan of that character. It just depends on your perspective. And also at the same time, people throwing criticism this film's way by not being too realistic. Okay, let me tell you in a serious way basically the plot of this film. And I also will talk about other plots of other films just to give you an idea that, you know what, when you really sit down and talk about them out loud, pretty much all of them have pretty much serious, silly plots. In this film in particular, a guy named Doctor Who wants to build a giant mechanical ape to dig out a radioactive element in the North Pole. That fails, so he goes after a real giant ape. That fails. Both of those apes, the real one and the mechanical one, do battle on top of a tower in which the real fleshy one prevails, and he goes out to sea to go back to his island home. That sounds great. That sounds great, super serious and silly, right? Well, how about this one? Alien cockroaches disguised as human beings build an amusement park in which they take control of a three-headed space dragon and a cyborg space chicken, while all the while all they want to do is destroy the world, and a giant mutant fire-breathing dinosaur and a spiky four-legged dinosaur come in to fight them off. Godzilla was this guy again. How about this one? A giant mutant fire-breathing dinosaur breaks out of an iceberg. At the same time, a giant monster ape that gets drunk off of berry juice comes to Japan to fight the mutant fire-breathing dinosaur. They both tumble in the ocean. The dinosaur disappears, and the mountain ape and the giant ape swims away to go back to his island home. King Kong versus Godzilla. So once again, just because it's silly doesn't mean that they're bad films. In my opinion, they're not bad films. They're fun, awesome, entertaining films that once again provide fun, provide entertainment, provide an escape from the real world. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like this, if you love Godzilla as a sea monster, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Monster Zero, pretty much all the monster films around the time period between 64 and 1968, then you shouldn't have no problem with King Kong Escapes. Now, it may not click with you as the other films, but to put down this film for being silly when all the rest of them was pretty much silly along with this one, in my opinion, is really, really hypocritical. At the same time, this really is a fun film for me. And when it comes to King Kong films, it's my favorite King Kong film of all time. As a matter of fact, before I get up out of here, I will rank my personal favorite King Kong films from my most favorite to my least favorite. Of course, my most favorite is, of course, King Kong Escapes. Number 2, King Kong 76. King Kong vs. Godzilla. Kong Skull Island. 1933 King Kong. 2005 King Kong. And, of course, King Kong Lives. I would throw Son of Kong in there, but I don't really count that one, even though I think technically you can. But to me, since King Kong is technically not in that film, I don't really count that into my, ranking right here. If you want to do that, you can. But for me, that's my ranking. King Kong Escapes, King Kong 76, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, 33 King Kong, 2005 King Kong, and of course, King Kong Lives. Now, where does Godzilla vs. Kong rank into that? We'll find out in a few months come next year, and we'll see what happens when that film comes out. But as far as like the best King Kong film and my most favorite King Kong film of all time, I gotta give it to this one. 1967's King Kong Escapes. Yes, yes, yes. So that pretty much concludes my Mark Seng Yang showcase devoted to my awesome custom-made diorama of this awesome film from 1967's King Kong Escapes. Yes, yes, yes. If you have any questions, holler me down in the comment section or hit me on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, a great, 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 great sculpture. From the minifigures, from the base here to the awesome helicopter, and of course, the man of the hour, the main event, King Kong himself. It's amazing. It's awesome. Once again, thank you, Mark Seng Yang, for making it happen. You know what? We got more collaborations to do, but you know what? I'm thinking about doing a live stream devoted to your work. Between myself, Phil the Kaiju King, and a couple other people, we're going to do something in your honor, good sir. So please stay tuned for that. In the meantime, hit up Mark Seng Yang on Facebook if you want something made of Kong, of Godzilla, or if you want anything else Kaiju related, either Gappa, Yongari, Gamma, or anything that you want Kaiju related. Please hit him up. He will definitely hook you up. Once again, you got to be on top of him. You have to let him know what you want, provide reference pictures, provide what you want, say what you don't want, and he will deliver for you every single time. Myself and Phil the Kaiju King are living proof of that. He has provided great sculptures for us, one-of-a-kind sculptures for us that nobody else pretty much has, and he can do the same thing for you. Trust me when I say that. And once again, stay tuned to the very end of the video, and you'll definitely see what's coming up next on my Mark Seng Yang showcase. And I think you're going to enjoy what we have planned coming up in the future. Once again, a couple of new figure reviews are coming. I got to do Baragon. I got to do the X Plus Orga and the 25cm Godzilla 2000. Just lots of stuff coming here on the channel. So please stay tuned. You will not be disappointed with Leslie Chambers Kaiju reviews. Thank you so much. And hit up Mark Seng Yang. Trust me, he is the bomb. He is the bomb. Ain't that right, Kong? So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on this figure move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.
I think he's had enough of what we call civilization.